Just as the woman finished her shower and was getting ready for bed, the sudden sound of shattering glass pierced the silence. She rushed out to the yard to investigate and found that the noise was caused by her pet cat. Seeing the cat crouched stubbornly on a tree branch, she climbed up with difficulty to bring it down. But just as she was about to carry the cat down, the new neighbor who had just moved in walked out of his bathroom. Caught off guard, she quickly covered the cat's mouth, afraid the noise would draw the man's attention. But right then, the branch beneath her could no longer bear their weight. After the man rescued her, he even kindly helped wrap her sprained ankle. Handsome, well-built, kind-hearted, and charming, everything about this man made her heart race.
Look, I'm gonna put my home number on the back of my business card. If your ankle starts giving you any problems, just...
When Colin left his phone number, Abby couldn't help but daydream. Even after he left, she couldn't calm the excitement stirring inside her. But just as she was basking in a sweet mood and ready for sleep, her cat once again led her into a surprising encounter. However, compared to the recently departed Colin, Abby's impression of this guy could only be described as utter disgust. At this point, she had no idea that this man, Mike, a TV host on screen ranting about relationships, would soon become deeply entangled in her life. Disagreeing with Mike's cynical views on romance, Abby called into the show.
So you're saying that men are incapable of love?
Oh, did I burst your little Harlequin romance bubble? What? Come on!
To challenge him, she described Colin as her ideal man. But Mike's mocking attitude left her fuming.
Okay, I'll give you $100 of my own money to go get this guy and bring him down here and let me meet him.
Well, he's out there somewhere.
Wait a second. You're not even dating this guy? Oh, you're a dog!
Being called unattractive, Abby could no longer hold back her fury. Through the TV screen, they argued for a full 30 minutes over the phone. But Abby could never have imagined that the man who nearly drove her crazy with anger would turn up the next day as her new coworker. Abby had once been an outstanding morning show producer. But with the market growing fiercely competitive, her traditional ways started falling behind the times. To retain viewers, the station boss Stewart brought in the unconventional but attention-grabbing Mike as her co-host, hoping their clash of styles would spark something fresh.
Who's this delightful creature?
I'm your producer.
Since their exchange had only been over the phone the night before, Mike didn't recognize Abby right away. He was puzzled by her cold attitude. After the company meeting, Mike approached Abby to ask if he had done something wrong.
Last night, a little phone conversation we had.
The moment Mike learned Abby was the same caller from the night before, the two launched into another fierce verbal battle.
I want Mike Chadway to be nothing but a pile of ash on the seat next to you. I want the janitor to come in and vacuum up the ashes of Mike Chadway with his dustbuster, and when he dumps it in the dumpster outside, I want the rats to vomit and defecate on the ashes of Mike Chadway.
Wow.
Georgia and Larry, following instructions, had planned to embarrass Mike live on air. But to their surprise, Mike took control from the start. Through some clever guidance, he managed to get Georgia and Larry, who already had feelings for each other but had never dared to confess, to share a kiss in front of thousands of viewers watching on live TV. Just as Abby was about to stop the broadcast, she heard praise from Stewart, who had come to watch in person. During the break, Abby gave Mike a stern warning and emphasized not to pull any more stunts. Mike agreed on the surface, but had no intention of stopping. And just like that, a well-planned cooking show was turned into a street interview segment. The unconventional content paired with a stunning female guest sent the show's ratings soaring to a record high. Though Abby was reluctant to admit it, Mike clearly had a knack for grabbing public attention. That afternoon, with nothing to do, they sat in the office. Mike once again poked fun at the perfect man Abby had raved about the night before, insisting such a person didn't exist, and if he did, it was all just an act. Unable to take it, Abby pulled out the business card Colin had given her and dialed his number. Mike picked up another phone to secretly listen in on their conversation. Abby tried to stop him but failed, and then invited Colin to dinner with a sweet voice. Hearing this, Mike reached over and hung up the phone.
If you want it to work out with this guy, then you'll listen to me and you'll do exactly as I say. You've probably already done irreparable damage with your psycho-aggressive control freak.
As Mike finished speaking, the phone rang again. Following Mike's advice, Abby deliberately called Colin by the wrong name, which successfully piqued his curiosity. Then she held the phone away, waiting silently. 30 seconds later, Abby saw the result she was hoping for. But before she could pick up, Mike hung up on it again. Then Mike explained it was all part of a tactic called playing hard to get. Seeing that Abby wasn't mad, Mike proposed a deal. He'd help her win over Colin, and if it worked, Abby would stop interfering with his show. If it didn't, he'd resign and disappear from her life for good. After brief consideration, Abby agreed. After this, her impression of Mike drastically improved. But to truly win someone like Colin over, tricks alone weren't enough. First, men don't change just because someone points out their flaws. They need to go through their own experiences to grow, so don't try to lecture them. Second, no matter what the man says, always smile politely. It dramatically boosts how much he likes you. And finally, the most important point, upgrade your appearance. They spent hours at the mall buying sexy outfits and getting trendy hairstyles.
Well, what do you think?
Abby's transformation even shocked Mike, her so-called coach. To help her prepare for the upcoming meeting, Mike eagerly volunteered to temporarily step in as Colin. But when it came to Mike, Abby just couldn't get into the right mood. Soon, there was a knock at the door. Abby nervously opened it, and just seeing Colin again made her heart race. Just as Mike predicted, Colin had come to ask about why Abby abruptly hung up on him earlier that day. Following Mike's instructions, Abby stammered and didn't answer right away. At the same time, Mike popped his head out from behind the sofa, intentionally making sure Colin saw there was another man in the apartment. Then, playing along, Abby told Colin she had something to do and politely closed the door.
Abby, I was wondering if you'd like to go to the Devils game with me.
Unlike Abby's cheerful mood, Mike's face showed a flicker of hesitation. He had deliberately let Colin see him to send a subtle signal that Abby might not be the kind of woman who leads a clean personal life. It was a way to test what kind of man Colin really was. If Colin backed off, it would prove he wasn't just the kind of guy Mike described, a man driven by desire. And later on, they could simply explain Mike as a relative or friend. But now, it was clear. Colin was after Abby for her body. To avoid causing problems at work, Mike decided not to tell Abby the truth and instead focused on doing his job. After that, the three of them went on multiple dates together. Every time Mike would sit not far from Colin and Abby, giving her instructions through an earpiece. With Abby's stunning looks and Mike's deep understanding of men, their carefully crafted tactics quickly drew Colin in. And finally, that night, their relationship was made official.
He's such a great guy, right?
Hearing this, Mike was overcome with guilt, because by now he was certain. Colin was exactly the type of man he had warned her about. Watching Abby's excited face, Mike couldn't bring himself to tell her the cruel truth. So instead, he gently advised, "I think you should just stay friends with him. Things that come too easily are rarely cherished by men." After spending so much time together, Abby and Mike were no longer at odds like before. Their on-screen chemistry grew stronger, and off-screen they became close friends. In the days that followed, Abby and Colin started spending time together like a real couple. Meanwhile, as her co-host and secret strategist, Mike actually spent even more time with Abby than Colin did, both at work and in private. And during that time, Mike began to realize he might be developing feelings for her. One evening at the bar, while they were talking about work, Mike casually probed Abby for updates on her relationship with Colin. When he learned they hadn't crossed any physical boundaries, Mike quietly breathed a sigh of relief.
We didn't. We're saving that for this weekend. He's taking me to Lake Tahoe.
But he relaxed too soon. Abby and Colin had already planned a romantic weekend getaway. And because of the lies Mike told earlier for the sake of work, anything he said now would be too late. Just when everything seemed beyond repair, a decision from Stuart forced Abby to cancel her weekend date with Colin, while also creating a chance for Mike.
Abby, what are you doing here? I thought you were going to Tahoe. You couldn't spend a day without me, could you?
Oh, yes. I just can't get enough of your sparkling wit and charm. Stuart thought you needed a producer more than I needed to get laid, so...
Thanks to another spike in their show's ratings, Mike was asked to go abroad to film a special feature. And as his producer Abby naturally had to go with him. On the surface, Abby was annoyed, but deep down, she was secretly relieved. Because through all this time with Mike, she'd started to realize maybe Colin wasn't the one for her after all. Instead, this man who once drove her crazy from the moment they met, yet made her feel relaxed and carefree when they were together, felt more like the kind of partner she had always dreamed of. After recording the interview, they were invited to a ball. A few drinks later, they hit the dance floor. The closeness, the warmth of each other's bodies, and the casual touches between them gave rise to a subtle, growing tension. But just as their faces drew near, lips almost touching, Abby pulled away. It wasn't just a pause. It felt like a signal. Mike got the message and backed off, his mind snapping back to reality. Riding the hotel elevator, they arrived at their floor.
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock.
Though neither wanted to part ways, with no official relationship between them, there was no reason to stay. Back in her room, Abby began to think deeply. What should she do? And right then, a knock came at the door. She adjusted her clothes and ran to answer with a smile. But something about Colin's eagerness for intimacy brought back memories of the things Mike once said on his show. In that instant, Colin's perfect image in Abby's mind completely shattered. Meanwhile, after much inner struggle, Mike, having decided to come clean with Abby, had already arrived at the door of her hotel room. Nervously, he knocked, only for the door to be opened by Colin, shirtless.
Hey, flight's changed. 8 o'clock. Morning. I told you that.
Abby knew full well that the 8 a.m. flight had been set in advance, so she immediately realized that Mike had come for something else. After calming Colin down, Abby chased after Mike.
That's it? That's all you have to say?
What do you want me to say?
The truth is ugly, isn't it?
That's what I've been trying to tell you.
Colin's behavior just now had made the truth painfully obvious to her. Once Mike was gone, Abby returned to her room and asked Colin a simple question.
Yeah. Colin, why do you like me?
But he stammered, unable to string 2 sentences together. Seeing this, Abby removed the wig she had been wearing to add volume to her hair and revealed the truth to Colin, from her initial, shallow attraction to his looks, to how she later sought help and advice in an effort to win his heart. And just like that, their relationship came to an end. The next day, with no sign of Mike, Abby boarded the flight and returned to the company on her own. News that Mike had left for another job puzzled her deeply. After requesting time off from Stuart, she went to the show's set, determined to ask Mike in person why he had resigned. But by the time she arrived, the show had already started, so she waited outside. Hearing those baseless, attention-grabbing remarks again, Abby stormed onto the set and pulled the host straight down from the hot air balloon. Grabbing the mic, she began to challenge everything the man had just said. Mike, seeing this scene unfold, dropped his script and climbed into the balloon too. Just like that, they launched into a long overdue shouting match once again. When words alone couldn't decide the winner, Mike signaled the crew to ignite the hot air balloon. As it rose slowly into the sky, Mike nervously searched for words.
Los Angeles.
I broke up with Colin in Los Angeles, you jackass.
On our left, you'll see the High Sierras.
What?
Glistening in the morning sunlight.
Oh, yeah, that's got your interest. Well, if you think we're gonna finish what we started in LA, you are out of your mind. You lost your chance.
Oh, come on. I never had a chance with you.
But at this point, both of them knew what the other truly felt. Abby interrupted the introduction being given by the staff member next to her, and Mike sincerely confessed his feelings to her.
You're in love with me. Why?
Abby responded by asking Mike the very same question she once asked Colin back in the hotel.
Beats the shit out of me. But I am.
As their passionate kiss played out on screen, tens of thousands of viewers watching from their TVs erupted in cheers, and with that, the movie came to an end.